Beating Bianca Andreescu, Petra Kvitova, Elena Rybakina, and Arna Sabalenka back-to-back, only to lose to Marketa Vondrousova in the final is almost as insane and crazy as Vondrousova's tattoos themselves. But with Ons Jabeur in the Wimbledon final, unfortunately, insanity and craziness is the norm. Hi, my name is Christian Bassnight, and you're watching Grand Slam Tennis News Today. Yes, Marketa Vondrousova claimed her maiden Grand Slam singles title today, beating Ons Jabeur 6-4, 6-4 in an interesting Wimbledon final. Coming into the championships ranked 42nd in the world, Vondrousova is the first unseeded woman in the Open era to win the Wimbledon singles crown. This whole win, honestly, was rather unexpected because she came into the tournament only winning one singles match at Wimbledon in her entire career. I also got to give the 24-year-old her credit for her resilience throughout her career thus far because she had a very strong start to her career, making that Rolling Girls final 4 years back. And while she did earn a silver medal at the 2021 Tokyo Olympics, injuries have thwarted her progress throughout the years. Most recently, Marketa had to come back from wrist surgery that she underwent in May 2022, and she took the rest of that season off. She did come into this match with a lot of confidence though after beating Ons twice at the start of 2023. But really, this whole entire result came down to Marketa just handling the occasion much better than Ons. Even Jabeur herself in her press conference attributed this loss to basically everything that I said could trip her up in my pre-match preview and prediction video that I posted yesterday. This was a very different matchup for her today compared to the other matches. First, unlike her last three matches against Kvitova, Rybakina, and Sabalenka, she was the big favorite and she was dealing with the nerves and pressure of being expected to take this win. All of those four Grand Slam champions that she beat in the rounds prior were power players, and Vondrousova too really isn't. Jabeur had a lot more time and more opportunities to dictate what you think would work to her advantage, but I think we underestimate the difficulty of adjusting to another opponent. Before I talk more about the mental aspects of the results and other Jabeur comments that she made in her press conference, I am briefly going to recap what went down in this match. Now, Ons got out to a great start. She went up 2-love, 40-15, and she had 3 game points total in that third game of the first set. But the Tunisian's first serve eluded her, which helped Marketa get the break back. I think that game was a big turning point in this match because I honestly could have seen Jabeur run away with that first set, at least had she closed it out, but the Czech was able to settle her nerves after getting that game. Despite fumbling that third game, Jabeur still had a lot of opportunities to seal the opener as she had 4 game points that following game but could not convert one. She still managed to get another break and went up 4-2. However, after she went up 4-2, everything just went downhill as Jabeur seemingly felt the moment. The Tunisian lost the last 16 of 18 points in the set, playing some erratic, just ugly tennis. It almost looked like she was Sabalenka whenever she's in a position to win a slam semifinal. Jabeur went off the court after that shocking opening set conclusion, and she did get broken right off the bat in the second set, and she went down 40-love in the next game. She did manage to claw herself out of trouble, winning 3 consecutive games to then serve for a 4-1 lead. Jabeur unfortunately once again seemed to feel the pressure of potentially closing in on victory and once again showed a drop in form. Jabeur's backhand really seemed to do her in as she netted so many of those ground strokes. Jabeur also looked physically just impaired and drained as she started walking a little slowly in between points and even bent over and started heaving sometimes. I think Ons possibly did have a panic attack and was definitely overcome by anxiety, and in her press conference, she spoke about the nerves that she felt heading into this match. Honestly, I felt a lot of pressure, feeling a lot of stress, she said, but like every final, like every match I played, I was telling myself it's okay, it's normal. I honestly did nothing wrong. I did everything that I could. I tried to tell myself that nothing is over. It's going to get better maybe. I've been used to losing the first set in these last 2 matches, so I hope maybe it would be better in the next few games, but obviously not. Like I mentioned at the start of this video, Jabeur also talked about how difficult it was for her to adjust from playing hard hitters like Rybakina and Sabalenka to someone like Vondrousova who makes a lot of balls back in play and just slices and chips a lot. Marketa ended this match with only 13 errors to Jabeur's 31. This was a weird finish to a truly excellent tournament of tennis on the women's side. Of course, Marketa deserves the title, especially with her beating 5 seeded players in Veronika Kudermetova, Donna Vekic, Maria Boskova, Jessica Pegula, and of course now Jabeur. That Pegula match changed everything as the American was up 4-1 breakpoint in the third set, but could not close it out, and she lost the last 5 games. Chrissy Everett said that Vondrousova's game is suited for the grass, and I don't know about that. Yes, she does chip sometimes, and she's decent at net, but like that's about it. And I guess her lefty slice serve also will do good because it can get low and it can slide and make opponents uncomfortable on return. But I mean, that's kind of like that's it. You know, obviously I feel like her game is primarily suited for the slower hard courts. You know, that's why we've seen her have success on the clay. That's why we've seen her, you know, do well at tournaments like Indian Wells because of that loopier forehand and because she likes to defend a lot. Really, a defensive player like her, you think really shouldn't do that well. But then again, we did have a player like Simona Halep who won this tournament. We did have Kerber who's, you know, won this tournament also. But then those players also hit flatter ground strokes. Vondrousova hits with more spin. But I guess the tournament shows you that, you know, anyone can win a Wimbledon title. Of course, Marketa deserves her Grand Slam title. I want to preface what I'm about to say by saying that. But this is just like weird. Like that's why I miss Iga Swiatek, because she wouldn't have let this happen. That sounds so bad, but she would not have let this happen. Like it's just so odd. Like Marketa Vondrousova has won Wimbledon. Like what? Like, I didn't even get CNN alerts from that show, oh, Marketa Vondrousova becomes the first unseeded player to win Wimbledon. The locals don't care. People don't care about that, unfortunately. People would have cared if Ons had won this title because it's a big story with her being such a trailblazer. But yet again, we have this happening. You know, no shade to Rybakina because I'm glad that she won Wimbledon because she's a deserving player. She's a top player. She's a part of the big 3. But once again, we're disappointed. We're let down. The crowd is let down. The crowd was pulling for you, Ons. We were all rooting for you. Vondrousova really didn't do anything spectacular in terms of her play. It's not like she just wowed everyone with how excellent she played. Her biggest advantage was just giving her opponents fits in an entirely different look with her game style and also how well she was able to capitalize off of her opponent's lapses in play. For that reason, I don't really foresee Marketa winning, you know, multiple Grand Slam titles. Maybe she can snag one more, but I say this because many players will figure out how to play her soon enough. I think her not really being a real consistent fixture on the tour helps her because not a whole lot of players are aware with how to play her. I honestly think it will be the same thing with Leylah Fernandez. Yes, I'm saying this because Leylah, she beat all those top players winning US Open, but then after a while, people began to figure out how to play her, and she's been struggling to have similar success. I did pick Jabeur to win this match in 3 sets, but I am not surprised at all, of course, that Marketa was able to win this one, as once more, Ons put a lot of pressure on herself with how bad she wanted this title for herself and her entire country. She was bidding to become the first North African and Arab player to win a Grand Slam singles title. The final overall was just very mid. I was disappointed in it. I expected a 3-set battle, but all I got was patchy play from both players, to be honest. The highlight of the entire match was in that 2-1 game in the first set, and then also there was some decent play early in the second set, but that was all. I was just very underwhelmed and very, not disturbed, but it just left me with a weird taste in my mouth after consuming that mess. The big question for me after this is, will Ons Jabeur ever win a Grand Slam title now? This is the 3rd time she's lost a major title in 2 years. You know, that's a lot for a player to keep experiencing. And I honestly don't know what will need to happen for Ons to get over this hump. Maybe it'll just take her longer personally to get the monkey off her back. And Jabeur did mention in the press conference that she and Kim Clijsters cried with one another, and Kim consoled her in the locker room. And the Belgian told Jabeur that she herself also lost her first, well, she did not also, because Jabeur's only lost 3 so far, slam finals, but Clijsters said that she lost her first major finals So, that does give Jabeur hope. Ons is 28 years old, so I feel like she has at least 3 to 5 more good years left to figure it out, which I do think that she can, but I am afraid that the scar tissue might be too much for her to recover from. Maybe Ons playing doubles with Serena Williams at Eastbourne last year was a bad omen for the Tunisian, because maybe Serena's poor slam final genes and play towards the end of her career might have rubbed off on the Tunisian, especially in 2018 and 2019 where she lost those 4 finals. But anyways, being serious now, this is now the second straight year that we've seen Jabeur in tears holding up that runners-up plate. And she also went on to say in her trophy ceremony that this is the hardest or toughest loss of her entire career. And despite how devastating that was, I like it. I appreciate the honesty. Show us how you really feel. I think her being so raw and open is a really good approach, instead of putting on a fake smile and acting like everything's all right, like some players might do. She knows that this is her best chance to win a major. Elena and Iga, the other 2 players she lost in those other 2 semifinals, are better players, just being honest. They are better than Marketa. But Vondrousova also lacked the weaponry and overall experience, but she was still able to beat Ons. So that's a tough pill to swallow for Jabeur, knowing that she's honestly the better player heading into this one. She's beaten better players, honestly, than Vondrousova heading into this match. She's more experienced than her, but she still was not able to get over the hump. It's definitely more of a mental thing for Ons, and she does have a mental coach in her coaching box, but at the end of the day, it's going to be up to her whether she can personally figure it out and calm herself down, because this was a totally different Ons Jabeur that we saw out there compared to the other matches that we saw this tournament. Against Kvitova, Rybakina, Sabalenka, she played lights out tennis. Not only was her tennis great, her serving, just everything about her was great, but just how she carried herself out on court. She looked like a boss out there. She looked like this was the tournament for her to win. That's why I ultimately picked her, because I knew the nerves would be a lot for her. But I thought that she was mature enough. She had the experience of playing in the Wimbledon final last year. I thought that would help her, be more prepared for this occasion. But clearly, her being the big favorite, it was too much for her today. And it's unfortunate, because I do think that she deserved this title as well. I do think eventually Ons' time will come, but regardless of the result, she should be very proud of the tournament that she's had. Aside from her beating 4 Grand Slam champions back-to-back, as I keep mentioning, what an incredible achievement that is in itself, she did not come into this tournament with a lot of confidence on the grass. Plus, she's been dealing with a flurry of injuries this season. Hopefully, she can take the positives away from her fortnight, because there are many of them. But of course, complete congratulations belong to Marketa for an even more incredible 2 weeks at SW19 that sees her achieve a career high ranking of number 10 in the world come Monday. But most importantly, her having a Grand Slam title. Were y'all also disappointed by the final, or were you somehow satisfied? Also, do you think that Ons will eventually get over the hump and lift a Grand Slam singles title? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below, and make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell so you're notified whenever I post the men's final preview between Novak Djokovic and Carlos Alcaraz. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon here on Grand Slam Tennis News Today.